You know they had a really good rushing attack last year.
Yeah.
No different this year. You saw that against Georgia State. But you guys won the turnover battle against UT Martin last week. So how do you follow up with that this coming week?
I think it's a different challenge, but obviously, because Army plays such a ball control offense and time management is a big deal in the Army game. If you can get turnovers or fourth down stops, those are just as good as turnovers. That gives the offense an extra possession. So I think you got to try to get it done one way or another.
Were you there 2 years ago when you guys won 17-8? So what do you remember from that game, and how can you improve on that since you guys are going to see a lot of those players from 2 years ago this weekend?
I think we just got to do what we did. I think we got to play sound. I think we got to play tough, and I think we got to play consistent. I think those are the main things you got to do. Anytime you play a triple option attack, it's just about you being fundamentally sound, being disciplined throughout the entire game. I think that's what they hang their hat on. So you got to do your best to try to beat them at their own game.
Obviously, 2019, the offense was a lot different. High a quarterback, kind of a slower, steady pace compared to what they want to play this year. How much this week has it been different? Working with Coach Kinley and some of the offense. Trying to create that balance so you guys aren't on the field all the time.
For sure. I think offense got to do what they got to make the most of their possessions, and our job, we got to do our best to try to stop Army. Army does an incredible job of eating up the clock and getting 3 and 4 yards here or there, and before you look up, the quarter's gone, and they've marched the ball all the way down the field. So, for us, thankfully our offense can score quickly. So they don't need a ton of time to get the ball into the end zone. So I think that takes pressure off of the defense, not knowing that, man, if I don't get the ball or get the ball back to the offense, they're not going to have enough time to score. So it actually helps. It takes a little bit of pressure off knowing that they can get that done. But I think for us, man, we just really got to focus on getting stops, tackling, and being in the right space. And to go along with that, I think when you're worried about getting the offense the ball, that's when guys on defense get nervous or try to make a play, jump out of a gap, and they extend the drive because of that pressure. So
I was here earlier for practice, and a lot of the DBs, I saw you guys running drills where you were hitting the dummies. Looked really explosive. A lot of the same thing when you guys were running simulations with the linebackers. How much more explosive is everyone looking this week compared to last week?
I think the guys are really fired up, and I think they're excited for the challenge. It's going to be a great venue that we're going to play in. It's going to be on TV and 9/11, and then the hype from last time we played. Our guys here, we look forward to challenges, and I think they're excited about it. That's why you see that bounce in every one step, and they got the right mindset going into the game. So we're really excited.
Army plays like this wing T style of offense, very option heavy. How important is it to keep your defense and their eyes just disciplined throughout the game so they don't get tricked, or when Army decides to pass, they don't get tricked with a pass there? So how important is just getting your guys prepared for that this week here?
I think that's actually the first thing I talked to the defense about. Put a slide up on the board. First thing they said was eye discipline, just across the board. And you think about it more in the secondary for when they try to, throw a ball down the field, but, your eyes got to be in the right place for your hands to go in the right place, right? So it starts up front as well. Like, what are my keys? What am I looking at? My hand placement is critical, and my eyes are critical just across the board. I think that's when you get a little bit nosy when you want to say, hey, what's going on over there? That's right when the guy runs right by you, right? And they try to throw the ball down the field. So I think that's a critical factor for us. And I think the next thing is you got to tackle well. Right, because when you tackle these guys, they're big, they're strong, they're fast. You end up tackling them, but they fall forward for another 2. You may hit them for a 2-yard gain, but they fall for 2. They got 4 yards just because of poor tackling. So, a combination of those 2 things, I think, is where the hitting yardage goes defensively.
And Coach talked about stretching on Monday, stretching them out to the perimeter and trying to stretch them out there. How important is just for them just to get out in the perimeter and allow your DBs to go and tackle and your safeties to come up and play?
Yeah, if you look in the triple attack, right, the dive is first, right, the quarterback second, and the pitch is last. So as they're going from A to B to C, right, that's really the last option in it. So you're stringing it out and getting the ball on the perimeter. And I do think we run well. So I think that favors us to be able to run sideways and get off blocks and chase the ball, and the sideline is undefeated when it comes to making tackles. So
Thursday night was the first night with a lot of new guys here, a lot of guys stepping up into bigger roles. What was the best thing you saw, and what is something that you feel like you guys need to work on?
I think we could have started fast and finished a little bit stronger. We did some really good things in between, right? I would have loved for us to obviously not start out the gate first drive of the season giving up touchdown. But again, there's some nerves there. There's some guys, again, like you said, you have played a ton. Guys are trying to get their feet wet and figure out who they are, what they do well. And once they kind of settled down, I thought we did some good things. Didn't love the 2-minute drill before halftime. You know, obviously starting fast and finishing strong, I think would kind of help complete it a little bit better. So, you know, you look forward to getting better from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 throughout the course of the season. I think we'll steadily improve as a defense as guys get more familiar, get more reps, and understand how people are attacking us. I think we'll continue to get better. So I'm just looking for us to take that next step.
Everybody's been talking about the offense, you know, how explosive it was,
Yeah.
but who were some of the unsung heroes on the defensive side, and who are you looking forward to having a big week this week coming up?
You know, from the last game, I think AJ and Beanie, I think both of those two guys did a phenomenal job. You know, not a ton of things that you would have noticed, but just from watching the tape and being clean in their technique and eyes being in the right place and, you know, making the plays when they came to them. We were really, really excited about those two individuals. You know, Beanie was kind of all over the field, inside, outside, stuff on special teams, a returner, same thing with AJ. So those are two guys that I thought did a really good job, you know, kind of particularly for guys who hadn't been full-time starters, right, for them stepping into that role and showing up and knowing that we can hang our hats on them. And this week, it's a collective effort, you know, to be honest. Like, you can't, you know, the safeties and linebackers probably going to they get the most of the production, right? So you look on the stat sheet, you think 15 tackles, wow, great game, but, you know, he doesn't get those tackles if it doesn't start up front. The guys are in the right gaps, you know. I don't want 15 tackles for 30 yards down the field. You know, I'd rather 15 tackles for 1 or 2 yard gain. So, but in order to get that done, we have to have a collective effort, and everybody has to be on the P's and Q's.
You know, a guy that saw a lot of time last year, especially towards the end, was Nick Days. Didn't play. Sounds like he's battling an ankle. Do you have any update on his status for Saturday?
Day to day, you know, he's trying to work through it. We want him back. He wants to be back, and he's working his tail off to get ready to go. Obviously, he brings a trait. He's long, he can run. Played a ton for us last year and started to come into his own. So we'll be excited to get him back. But we're excited about the guys we have. You know, Will, G. Kane, and Matt and Malik. I think they're ready to step into it and be productive as well.